Ripple writes to SEC proposes 3 solutions to resolve crypto regulatory confusion. You know what's crazy is like I see a lot of simplification of things happening right now already. How much simpler could it get? But let's read this. It says leading blockchain payments company Ripple has written to the SEC emphasizing its stance on providing regulatory clarity for crypto, which they are. They're going to do it 100%. It's going to be so crystal clear that there will be no blockades. I said this 2 years ago. Remember, there will be no blockades for that money, that value. There won't. They're all in on it. They all know what's coming. They all want a piece, a big chunk, and they'll have it. It says here, Ripple responds. In its response, Ripple criticized the past SEC. That we know. I'm not concerned with that. I like to move forward. I'm not going to be looking back, trying to move forward. No. What happened, happened. Now we're here. Let's address what's in front of us. Stay focused. All right. Ripple proposes 3 solutions. Now that's what I wanted to read. Interestingly, Ripple made 3 proposals. I'm scrolling down. Bear with me. It says to resolve this confusion, Ripple recommended that the SEC should return to its first principle by regulating only what constitutes securities as defined by federal laws. The company suggested that many digital assets, particularly those that do not generate yield or confer rights to profits, should not be classified as securities. You agree with that? It also says stay within statutory bounds. In addition, Ripple urged the SEC to follow the current law instead of establishing new ones that might create further confusion. Reasonable enough, in my opinion. And then it says here, I guess this is the third one. It says need for clarity. Furthermore, Ripple emphasized that the SEC should bring relief by providing regulatory clarity for the crypto market. I know they're going to do it. Everything is pointing towards that. I think that's the whole point. They laid the foundation by dropping all these cases. So the only thing left after you drop all those cases is to establish a clear definition of terms. Define all the different terms that you want everyone to go by. Define what's what and who is what, and then you let everything play. Right now, the U.S. is in the energy of let everything play, and let's unrestrict things as much as possible and see what happens, right? And that the markets will right themselves once you just unleash them, which if you're talking about value, which is what people need right now, that's what companies need it. I saw a bevy of articles come out this past week about companies' need for capital. Did you see that? Right? I told you. Didn't I tell you? I told you. I even saw an article about a few banks. Ooh, right? A few banks are in a bad position as well. But I always knew, because if you're on the ground, you see the struggle of the small and medium-sized businesses. You see the struggle. They open up, they're out for a few years, they're struggling, then they close. There's been too much of that the past few years. So they need value. The people on the ground need value. The businesses need value. And you want to be real, the banks need value as well. But theirs is more a case of mismanagement. They've mismanaged and misappropriated value ridiculously, where that's not necessarily the case for businesses and regular people. So now what that has resulted in is listen, folks, and this is why this is huge. Just understand what's coming, at least the environment, the potentiality. So this has resulted in them attempting, doesn't mean they're going to succeed, in creating an environment where theoretically, if conditions are right within the next year or two, where the businesses take the lead, maybe the banks correct themselves, there's a little less tightening of the belt, then people, as well as some businesses, may have the opportunity to make more capital than they've made in a long time. That's how I'll phrase it. All right. And part of it, part of it's just going to be business outright. Technology is about to unleash people in a way where you're going to be, not financial advice, but anybody will have the opportunity to make a lot of capital. A lot of that will be global. You'll have global reach at your fingertips. You'll have full automation in the next 2 to 3 years. Full automation. You barely have to do anything. And your company will run itself if you set it up the right way. Let me put that out there also. So not everyone's going to be able to do that. Not everyone's going to have the capability to do it. But the opportunity will be there for a few. And then, of course, here comes crypto right here, where now you're going to have this possibility for those who know, because not everyone knows. I encounter a lot of people don't know about the utility coins. They don't know that these people have these partnerships and deals and things. They don't know that. They just know Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, apparently, Solana is becoming popular. That's interesting to me. Maybe there's something I don't know. I don't know why that's occurring, but I'll take it. But yeah, crypto is going to be allowed the opportunity to explode to heights that it's never seen before, by design. So all who are in the know will have the opportunity to make a massive amount of value. What you do with it is up to you. Once again, not financial advice. All right, just my humble opinion. So you have Ripple suggesting this, but I think the SEC is going to do that already. The energy has already shifted, and it's not just in the US. The energy has shifted around the world. The world is ready to feast. The world is, let's be honest. The world has been starving, right? We haven't been able to play the way that we want to play. We know exactly how to make value. You and I, we know exactly how to make value. We're wise like that. We're smart like that. We're good like that. We know. But due to certain conditions and circumstances, we haven't been able to do that. Globally, I'm saying globally. But now, I mean, they're taking the manacles off crypto. You have nations getting involved. And the people are not understanding how much power they have. See, so there's going to be something interesting to watch. And just watch it closely, right? Maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me I'm wrong. People tell me all the time. I don't think I am. The more the people are involved in crypto, the more the people are holding crypto, the more desperate they're going to make the companies and the nations, central banks as well. Why? Because, and you know what makes me say that? We read an article recently, and I'm trying my best to remember. A little bit tired. There was an article we read in the last 3 days where I can't remember who it was. Some so-called expert was talking about how the retail, don't expect the retail people don't rely on the retail people. That's what they were saying. Don't rely on retail. Don't expect retail to come back. Or it was very, you could tell that these big money people are watching what retail does. Now, why is that significant? And my apologies if I'm not so eloquent, but follow me here. I think that's significant because once again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier in the video. If indeed, I've tried to record this video 7 times. So I hope it was in this one, right? I've messed up 6 times. This is the 7th one. That's how, I put in hard work sometimes. But I think it was in this one. Earlier in the video, I was referencing how they overestimated their ability to control retail. They want that ability to control retail so they can manipulate retail to sell, to aid them in plummeting the price so the big businesses can buy more. Haven't you seen that? And so if it works the opposite way as well, listen, the big timers, they affect retail, and retail, but in the opposite way, retail affects the big timers. If retail were theoretically, and I don't think this is going to happen, but if they were to somehow figure out they have the power and hold at certain times, strategically hold at certain times, only selling at the most opportune moments, they will put the pressure on the big businesses. Because what have they been doing? They showed you that every time there's a massive dip or correction, they're buying en masse. So what happens if the selling at some point, if people are so solidified in their crypto positions that they say, you know what, I'm just going to hold for a while. And I'm not saying to do that. You can do what you want to do. I'm just playing out the scenario because I feel like this is a very powerful tool that people have if they only know they have the power. if the people were to hold strategically at some point and they were solidified in their positions, to say, hey, I know Bitcoin is going up. Hey, I know XRP is going up. Then they will force the big businesses, the banks, and the nations to buy at a higher price, skyrocketing that value even higher earlier than they would anticipate. It's a game. But I mean, I get most people are not playing it like a game, and there's not a lot of team mentality going on. I understand that as well. You have to think as an individual, right? Just mostly for survival purposes. Can't really trust anybody either. I get that as well. But if crypto people came together, they could force big timers' hands coming up. So, I mean, that's something I'm thinking about here. I'm just keeping in mind. Now, let's go here. Wait a minute. Let's get to the big dog Bitcoin before the video gets too long. This could be something. This article is titled, Biopharma Exec Says Bitcoin Could Help Industry Through Biotech Winter, unquote. This is what I'm talking about. They need the value that's coming from crypto. Bitcoin. They need that value that's going to come from the explosion of XRP. Now, this window where they need it is not big. It's not. They're not always going to need it. Because at some point, they're going to have enough value where they could just say, whatever happens, happens. We've all been there. Made so much value, we're just like, whatever happens now happens. The pressure is off. But right now, does that make sense? Right now, the pressure is on. Now, wait, let me not get ahead of myself. This is what it says. This is why I'm saying this. It says, Atai Life, ATAI. I'm going to spell it out for you. I'm not certain of the pronunciation. Atai Life Sciences founder, Christian Angermayer, says holding Bitcoin, you see, holding Bitcoin could be a way for biotech firms, multiple, to survive. To survive the blisteringly long approval process required to bring their products to market. Folks, listen, this mentality right here is it's not only biotech firms who are thinking this, and it's not just because and other companies are not thinking this because they want to survive a long approval process. No, they just need to survive outright. They're not doing well. They're not bringing in enough capital. They're not making enough sales. They're hanging on by a string. All right. But look at that. Survive. Countries are massively in debt. Countries are thinking like this. Oh, well, maybe we could hold on to some Bitcoin, buy some XRP, whatever cryptos. It doesn't make a difference. As long as they can make money, that's value. That's all they care about. And then they can use that for their debt or something else or specialized programs. They're all thinking this and licking their chops right now, especially now that crypto's being unleashed. This gets serious now. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Look at that. Biotech firms. How many other firms, genre of businesses are feeling this exact same way? And this aspect here, I'm trying not to hit my microphone. A few times I turned it off and then I hit it by accident and turned off and I messed up the video. But in this aspect is only about the value. I know we're talking about Bitcoin, but my mind always goes to utility coins as well. But when it comes to utility coins, this doesn't even factor in the utility. But for Bitcoin, with such a low supply, and the sharks are swimming around Bitcoin, waiting to feast, there's no way Bitcoin doesn't skyrocket. The moon, get that out of here. Moon? I don't even want to hear about that whole moon talk. Oh, we're going to the moon. That's old school. No. Listen, folks, we're talking about is way bigger than the moon. I don't want it to sound like hype, but anytime you're excited, somebody else out there is going to be pessimistic, say is hype. How? We're talking real catalyst, serious catalyst. This is big. Businesses need and want Bitcoin. Nations need it. They need another capital maker, value maker. They're going to keep gold as store of value, folks. And I think the selling of gold, I think gold's going to go through the roof. I do. You know why? Because first of all, let's just establish once again, gold is the absolute best store of value when it comes to commodities, in my humble opinion. And I think the banks agree. So that selling of gold, in my mind, it may slow up, causing that price to skyrocket because they sell in the past. They still sell some gold every once in a while. You see China sell some gold, India sell some gold. They'll buy a lot back. Their buying is consistent, but they're going to sell a little bit to take that value and move it around. But now with Bitcoin, think about this. With Bitcoin, maybe you slow up on the sales of gold because now Bitcoin is a pure money maker. As more of central banks buy Bitcoin, and they will, as nations buy Bitcoin, as businesses buy Bitcoin, as that price goes up, they'll be able to liquidate. They won't have to liquidate gold. They can liquidate Bitcoin. They can play with Bitcoin faster, quick, everything in every possible way. And I think that's what they're going to do. I do. And if that does indeed happen, the price of Bitcoin is going galactic. And once again, I want to say, I don't believe it's always going to be that way. I don't. I just know what I'm seeing right now. That's it. Right now. Whatever the future holds, we'll go by that information. We'll tabulate. We'll do our calculations, and then we'll address the future when we get there. But as of right now, these are the conditions. And that's why they're saying things like this. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.